it's chaos.
You'll have to see it to believe it. Whoever said that must have been talking about Talladega. It's a place where chaos mixes with speed, where a town turns into a city, and a playoffs weekend becomes a lifetime of memories. It's a tradition like no other, at a track like no other. And after it's all over, you still won't believe it ever happened. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you in our studios here in Tuscaloosa as we'll start to go through everything coming up on a very busy show as we turn the calendar to August. Football preseason camp beginning today. Soccer preseason camp is underway this week. It's an exciting time here at Alabama. Start to go through everything coming up on the show thanks to our friends at RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. They've given us a smart board to go through everything coming up, plus our headlines coming up in just a moment. We're going to be talking a lot about golf on this show. I've even got the Swinging Elephant polo on for today. We're going to start with Lee Hodges, who last week won his first PGA Tour event, the 3M Open in Minnesota. So we'll talk with Lee first about his victory on the PGA Tour. Then we'll talk about some football with Aaron Suttles. As we mentioned, football preseason camp is starting today, literally as we speak here in Tuscaloosa, and Suttles will be along to break down not only this Crimson Tide football team, but talk about Yay Alabama's Fan Day that's coming up on 2:30 on Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Then we'll head to the soccer pitch. Wes Hart, of course, last year was the SEC Coach of the Year, leading Alabama to the SEC Championship plus the College Cup. He'll join us to talk about this year's version of the Crimson Tide, and then we'll finish out the show with some golf as well. 2 weeks ago on the LPGA Tour, Cheyenne Knight won in a team event, a former Alabama golfer and formerly the SEC Golfer of the Year back in 2017. So she'll be along with some thoughts on her great play and plus how proud she is of all the success we've seen on the men's side as well. Going through the headlines, let's start with football because football is starting today. Practice is officially underway on the Thomas Drew practice field, so we're certainly looking forward to all of that coming up, but we'll be having some coaches' checklist over the next few weeks, even some practice footage here on Crimson Drive, so we look forward to that. It'll be 20 practices in August. Yes, temperatures in the mid-90s, but that means it's a football field, really, when we get to this time of the year, so we're certainly looking forward to that. Plus, on Saturday, Yay Alabama Fan Day is coming up at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and the practice portion is open to all fans at Bryant-Denny Stadium. But if you want to go on the field, get some autographs from your favorite Crimson Tide players, you need to be a member of Yay Alabama to take part in that. You can find out more on their website, and Aaron Suttles here in a few minutes in our interview with him will break down everything you need to know getting ready for Fan Day on Saturday. Don't want to end just yet. Let's take a look at Crimson Tide Soccer as their preseason camp is also underway at the Alabama Soccer Stadium. And in 2 weeks from tonight, it will be the season opener for the Crimson Tide, August 17th against DePaul. Before that, they will have an exhibition match against Tennessee coming up on August 8th. But August 17th is the key date to keep in mind as Alabama will take on DePaul to begin the season. Then the SEC opener will be in mid-September against the Georgia Bulldogs. Last year, a historic year. The best year in program history, winning the school's first SEC championship in soccer and then reaching all the way to the College Cup and carrying North Carolina, the soccer version of the Final Four. Finally, golf. Again, that's the focus, football, golf, and soccer today. Congratulations to Lee Hodges. Last week won the PGA Tour's 3M Open for his first victory on the PGA Tour. On the same day, Davis Shore, who was a teammate of Lee here in Alabama, he won on the PGA Tour Canada's in their event at the Osprey Open, so we certainly love seeing that. Nick Dunlap also got the news earlier in the week that the outstanding Crimson Tide golfer, current member of this team, who was just a freshman a year ago, he has been selected to the Walker Cup team for the United States. A great honor for Nick. And coming up, we'll be talking golf again with Lee Hodges in just a moment, and then with Cheyenne Knight on her victory 2 weeks ago at the LPGA Tour. But I think everybody was fired up. Even Coach Saban was fired up for the victory that Lee Hodges had this past Sunday at the 3M Open in Minneapolis. And he joins us now to talk about his first PGA Tour win. Lee, Roll Tide, congratulations on the win. What's this past week been like for you getting your first victory on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, Roll Tide, man. It's been wild. It was a dream week. I played some unbelievable golf and was just really calm out there all week. I don't know why. Like, it seems like a lot of guys say that when they win, but yeah, kept it together for 72 holes, man, and played some really, really nice golf.
You certainly did, and you said you had a good feeling all week. You ended up being a wire-to-wire winner. What were some maybe early signs that you would have a special week?
Honestly, the prep, like I knew me and my team were doing a lot of good work, even in the last 5 weeks. And I knew the game was trending in a good direction. And yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like I just hit some really quality shots in all my practice rounds. And then in the pro am on Wednesday, Wednesdays we kind of take it easy in the pro am, but I made a lot of birdies in the pro am, and I was like, man, if I can just get out of my way this week, I can play some nice golf. And then to open with 63 is always nice. I'll take that every week. And then to follow that back up with 64 is then it's kind of going your way a little bit. And I got some nice bounces. I hit a couple in the rough on the first 2 days that had a really nice lie, and I was like, man, this is when you just got to ride the wave of getting the good breaks and also hitting some really, really good shots. So just really knew I needed to get out of my own way.
And you had the lead after every round, and people always talk about a 54-hole lead, which you've had before on the PGA Tour. But how did maybe some of your past experiences help get you ready to go into that final round on Sunday knowing you had the lead?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was super, super confident going into the final round. I had the 54 hole lead at Amex, and then I had a 2-shot lead going on to the back nine of that Sunday. And it was a great learning experience. I thought I could make 9 pars and win the golf tournament, and that just solely was not the case. I think if I'd have made 9 pars, I'd have still lost by 4. So it was I knew I needed to stay aggressive, and it helped me a ton. I was super aggressive not super aggressive, but I was as aggressive as I need to be. When I was in the fairway with a good number, I was thinking about making birdie, and I think that helped me a lot.
And then you also got a couple of eagles. I mean, those were some of your best holes of the week, it seemed, on Sunday.
No doubt. Yeah, those 2 3-woods were, that's something I'll look back on forever. That's the kind of stories you'll tell your kids or some grandkids one day about stuffing a 3-wood on Sunday. So no, it was awesome. It was a perfect number both times, the exact same number and the exact same win on both of those par 5s. So yeah, somebody was looking after me, so it was nice.
Well, this maybe answers my next question, but was the 3-wood the best club in your bag, or what was the best club you had in your bag all week?
Yeah, I mean, it was on Sunday. But no, I mean, I drove it great. I was in the fairway a ton, and I putted really nice. I don't know what I finished the week in putting. Probably hadn't been top 10, but I made a lot of nice mid-range putts and a lot of nice, 5 to 7 foot putts for birdie or for par, which were huge on Sunday, especially. I ran a couple by there late and made them coming back. So it was the putter was really nice all week.
Certainly was. And even on 18, you had such a great approach shot. You left yourself kind of a gimme to tap in for the win, your first PGA Tour victory. Just tell us about that moment when you finally knocked that putt in. We see you drop the putter. What's going through your head? And then all of a sudden, all the people you start seeing.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. People, that wasn't just 7 days of hard work. That was 20 years of hard work. So it all, just all kind of came out of me right there. I wanted to go give my caddy a hug. He comes to work every day and pushes me to be better. And he works super hard. And then I got to see my wife, which was super special. And then Coach Sewell walked out on the green, which is, I didn't even know he was there till 18. I was standing off the side of the green, and I was trying to see where my wife was, and I saw she was talking to somebody, and I was like, "That's Coach." And that's the first time I had seen him all day. Honestly, I had no idea he was there. And for him to walk out on the green and give me a milkshake was something else.
Yeah, how much do you guys love that milkshake tradition that, of course, he had with you all at Alabama? Now you get to take it on to the PGA Tour and elsewhere.
That is super special. That's something I'll remember forever. Him handing me a milkshake on the 18th green. Yeah, that was always my favorite part of college, because that meant we won a tournament. So luckily my senior year we got quite a bit of milkshakes, which was awesome, and we had a great team. And man, he means so much to me and my golf career, and more than that, he means a lot to me just as a person, because he's made me a better person.
How about the moment for Alabama as well? Davis Shore wins the Osprey Open on the Canadian Tour the same day.
That's wild. Yeah, D Shore is he's a great talent. He was a freshman my senior year, and he came in and right away was a starter, and obviously helped lead us to a runner-up in the national championship. And he's a great kid. He's a man now, not a kid. I still think of him as a freshman, but he's no, he's an unbelievable talent, and it's just a matter of time until he's winning on every stage.
Well, another Alabama legend you got to talk to on Sunday. We've all seen the video of your call with Nick Saban, the head football coach here at the Crimson Tide. What was that moment like, getting to interact with him after the win?
Well, that was easily the most nervous I was all week. He's he's like he's the man in the state of Alabama. He could do whatever he wants, and yeah, I've caught some grief over calling him dude and pal and bud, but honestly, I didn't know what to say. I didn't really. It was kind of a blackout moment. You're talking to probably the most famous man in the state of Alabama. So yeah, I kind of blacked out. So sorry. I don't know sorry, coach, if that was, if you didn't like that, but no, I love talking to him, and yeah, I wish them nothing but the best, and I bleed crimson, and I can't wait to watch them in the fall.
Yeah, Coach Sewell said on CBS that you're very unflappable except during Alabama football games. What kind of fan are you during games?
Oh, it tears me up, honestly. I hate when they lose, and I love them I love it when they win. But I bleed crimson, and I have since the day I was born. My dad is the same way. He is a massive Alabama fan. Me and some of his friends, we have a group chat just on recruiting and how who's going to play quarterback and who's going to do this. And no, it's my favorite thing to keep up with. I have last year was the first year I can remember ever that I didn't get to a game. It just, the schedule didn't work out for me to get to Tuscaloosa for a game last year. But I will definitely be going back this year to restart that tradition of going.
That certainly sounds good. We're excited for Alabama football season. We're also excited for the FedEx playoffs that are coming up. And of course, after your great win at the 3M Open, now you're number 33. So you're in a really good spot going into the playoffs. Just kind of what's next for you over the next few weeks as we get closer to the FedEx playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I got to thankfully take a week off at home to rest my body. I think last week was my 5th tournament in a row, and normally that's where I kind of start to take a break, and it couldn't work out at a better time. Once I'll have 1 week off, and then next week the playoffs start. I'll be in Memphis, and yeah, no, it's super great. I put myself in a great position to make a run at the FedEx Cup playoffs. So yeah, it's all I can ask for, and I'm just going to keep working hard and hopefully get out there and keep playing some good golf.
That's certainly exciting for this year, but how about next year? Even looking ahead just a little bit, next April, with this victory, now you're going to the Masters. You get to play at Augusta National for the first time. Just how exciting is that, knowing you have that Masters invite to look forward to next year?
No doubt, man. That's an absolute dream come true. From Alabama, like that's the Masters that's my tournament. That's the biggest thing to me. Yeah, it's super. I would have probably been a little more nervous coming down the stretch if I would have thought about that. I didn't think about that, not truthfully, not one time all week. Like it never crossed my mind. And then I was standing on 18 while Postman was putting out, and me and Andrew, my caddy, were standing there, and we were talking, and he was just, telling me great job, like how proud he was of me. And, I just told him, because my mom and dad weren't there, and I was just like, man, I wish my mom and dad were here. And he looked at me and said, it's all right, bud, they can come to Augusta. And I was like, whoa, that's the first time I'd heard it or even thought about it. And that was a real surreal moment. And I can't wait to get there, man. I've been to a couple of practice rounds, and just grown up watching it my whole life. It'll be an absolute dream week.
Well, that's certainly exciting. Well, it's been a dream week for you, winning for the first time on the PGA Tour, the winner of the 3M Open, Lee Hodges, proud Alabama alum. Just thank you so much for your time with us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. We're thrilled for your success, and you have to do this now every time you win on the PGA Tour. So hopefully we'll be talking a lot more, but thank you for your time, Lee. Roll Tide.
Thank you. Roll Tide, man.
Crimson Drive is driven by NASCAR, and the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs are returning to Talladega this fall. Don't miss out on the opportunity to get up close to some of NASCAR's most talented drivers with the unparalleled access available at Talladega Superspeedway. Be a part of NASCAR's legendary 75th anniversary season and make memories with your friends and family that will last a lifetime. Lock in your tickets today for the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday, October 1st. Tickets are on sale now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. We continue with Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We thank Lee Hodges for his time. And now we shift gears a little bit to football. Today is the start of preseason practice for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Aaron Suttles has been covering Alabama football for years, but now he's part of Yay Alabama, the NIL entity for the University of Alabama and Crimson Tide Athletics. So a little bit of an insider's view from Aaron Suttles about football camp that is starting in Tuscaloosa as we speak on this Thursday afternoon, and plus some details from him about Yay Alabama Fan Day that's coming up on Saturday. Here's our conversation with Aaron Suttles. Aaron, Roll Tide, it's good to see you. How's everything going now being on this side of football camp?
Man, could not be more thrilled. It's football time. You can feel it in the air. Fans are getting excited, and the calendar's turned to August, so it's not too far away before we start seeing some live football.
That really is exciting. And of course, it's always kind of an unofficial kickoff to the year when Alabama appears at SEC Media Days. This past year, that was in Nashville 2 weeks ago. Just what were some of your takeaways from what either Coach Saban said or some of the players we got to talk to, like Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and J.C. Latham?
I think the big message is Alabama sort of taking this a little personal. The fact that they're not the talk of SEC Media Days this year. And it should be Georgia. Georgia's a back-to-back defending national champions, the first time that's been accomplished since Alabama did it. So Georgia's sort of the top dog, pardon the pun. But you could tell from J.C. Latham that his comments specifically about wanting to get back to Alabama dominating in the trenches. I think that will define this season for Alabama, how successful they are in that endeavor. And I think that's sort of what they want to be known as this year, is being a physical football team that teams don't want to play for 4 quarters. That's what Nick Saban built this program on when he came in 2007. It's what they thrived on. And I think, when they got really heavily this run of quarterbacks they had, not that they got away from it, but they were a more high-flying offense. I think this team is more geared toward that throwback style, and I think that's the style they want to play. And that's the message I sort of took away from SEC Media Days.
And then in between, a lot of fans were excited for your interview that was on Yay Alabama with Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator. It's not often we get to talk to coordinators in the media, whether inside or out. So just what a great opportunity for you to get to visit with one of the newest members of Coach Saban's staff. What'd you learn from your conversation with him?
Yeah, that he's young. First off, he's very young. But two, that he doesn't seem, this role doesn't seem too big for him. I had the opportunity, the occasion to sort of shadow him at 8A and watching how he interacted with his offense and his quarterbacks that day. It didn't look like the lights were too big. Now, that was a spring practice, but he certainly understands the opportunity he has in front of him. And I think any coach that's worth their salt does one thing well. You can always be known as this type of coach or that type of coach. The best coaches adapt to their personnel. And it goes back to what we were just talking about at SEC Media Days. Alabama's personnel this year on the hoof, we haven't seen them play it, but on the hoof, it looks like it's going to be a big physical offensive line with a stable full of running backs, quarterback competition that's yet to be decided, and some wide receivers that know they need to improve their game. So that would lead me to think that this will be a run-first offense and play action off of that. And I think that's the impression I got with offensive coordinator Tommy. Now, he certainly didn't give me any inside secrets. That's just me sort of speculating, looking at the roster on its whole. But I think he knows that, and I think we'll see what sort of offensive coordinator he is and how he builds his offense around what they have this year.
As fall camp starts, obviously the quarterback competition is on the minds of all Alabama fans, and it will be leading right up to game week against Middle Tennessee. Coach Saban had the great analogy about waiting for the cake to come out of the oven, but how should fans kind of proceed with patience and not taking anything too seriously we may learn over the next few weeks about the competition?
I think they only need to look at the past. I mentioned that recent run of quarterbacks they have. Alabama's, if things stay today on August 1st, if things stay on NFL's opening weekend the way they are on August 4th, Alabama's probably going to have 4 starters in the NFL on opening day, which is remarkable. So that just shows you the quality of that position in the recent past. But you don't have to go back too far. The first year of the college football playoff, there was a competition battle between Blake Sims and Jake Coker. There was a competition between Jalen Hurts and Blake Barnett. So we've seen some of these competitions play out before where there wasn't the incumbent starter returning. There wasn't a clear-cut starter. And Alabama's had really successful seasons. 2014, as I just mentioned, Alabama was the #1 seed in the college football playoff. So the nature of the position is you're going to get a ton of credit, you're going to get a ton of blame, and that's the spotlight's going to shine the brightest on the quarterback position, right? But we just have to let this thing play out. And I do anticipate some spicy press conferences from Nick Saban this fall, because I think that's going to be on the mind of everyone. I think he knows that, and I think he's going to try to take some attention away from it. So I would not be surprised to see a Nick Saban rant coming up in the future, but you just got to let it play out. These are 3 high quality quarterbacks that are going to be competing with each other. And it's going to be, I think, the winner of that competition will be the person who takes care of the football, number one, and then that keeps the offense in manageable down and distances.
What's the most intriguing position battle on the defensive side of the ball heading into camp?
Oh, man, that's a good one. I'm really looking at safety and in linebacker. We kind of know what Alabama's going to be at outside linebacker. You got Dallas Turner, you got Chris Braswell, and you got some talented players there in that rotation. But you have outside. I think inside linebacker, you start looking at Deontay Lawson. Is he going to call the defense? The departures they had, Henry To'o is gone. So I do think the inside linebacker is really intriguing to me. And then at safety, where does the freshman phenom Caleb Downs come into play? You got Malachi Moore. Is he going to play safety this year? So Earl Little Jr. There's some talented guys they have there. So I think safety is one that's yet to play out, and inside linebacker. Those are positions that I'll be watching the most.
How do you feel like Dallas Turner will do this season without having Will Anderson on the other side of the line?
I think he knows it's a big season for him, that he's going to be draft eligible. Not that, and that's really all the motivation that he needs. He's not. You hate to say he's been in the shadow a little bit, but Will Anderson did sort of hog the lion's share of attention, rightfully so, because Will Anderson's one of the greatest to ever wear the crimson and white. But Dallas Turner's a really good player in his own respect, and I think now that he's going to be, but along with that, Roger comes along. He's going to be now the guy that teams try to take away. So I think he's really going to rely on Christopher Braswell to help him out on the other end. But I think it's going to be a really good season for Dallas. You look at him just looking at his frame, he's naturally built to play that position. I think it's going to be a big season for Dallas.
Well, we're certainly excited that preseason camp is starting this week, and especially on Saturday, a lot of excitement to get back inside Bryant-Denny Stadium for what will be Fan Day. Fans able to come to the scrimmage at 2:30, but also to get autographs. It's presented by Yay Alabama, and you need to be a member of Yay Alabama to have the opportunity to interact with Crimson Tide players. Just what can you tell us about everything that's planned coming up this Saturday?
Yeah, really glad that Fan Day has returned, the first time since 2019. Obviously, took some hiatus with COVID, and didn't after that. They didn't bring it back. But want to be clear, the Fan Day is absolutely open to everyone who wants to attend. The autograph session is just for Yay Alabama subscribers, and I think of it this way: in the land of NIL, they own their. Before they weren't allowed to capitalize on that. Now they can go to the mall on a Saturday and they can charge whatever they want for an autograph. This is a way to get all the autographs that you want for members of Yay Alabama. So it was only right to do by the players if you're asking them to do that when they could capitalize on their own. So a good opportunity. If you don't want to take advantage of that, certainly come and watch the open part of Fan Day. But we certainly hope that you would consider a subscription to Yay Alabama. It's the future, helps to ensure the future of Alabama athletics, and people have been great so far. And we're excited to see the players and Coach Saban. It's not the running of the Gumps anymore, Roger, but it's always fun to watch little kids get an autograph of these players that they sort of idolize.
At least it still will be the hottest day of the year, probably. That is a tradition, doesn't go away, right?
Exactly. You can't escape that.
That's certainly good. Well, that's exciting, again, for Yay Alabama subscribers to have that opportunity. We mentioned the exclusive interview you had with Tommy Reese that debuted a week ago. As we get ready for football season to start, what else can Yay Alabama subscribers look forward to from some of your coverage of the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, so all summer long, we've been doing what we call a half-hour huddle, where we grab a student athlete at the University of Alabama, let our subscribers ask questions of them. We go live. And we sort of screen the questions, make sure we protect the student athletes, that some rival fan can't get in there and disrupt the interview. But it's an opportunity for subscribers to ask anything they want of the student athletes, and for them to showcase their personalities beyond the competition field, right? To potential brands that may want to endorse them, or simply just for fans to get to know them a little better. And we've had a lot of fun with that. a lot of success with that. A lot of Q&As we're going to be doing with student athletes. We're going to try to document fall camp as much as we can. You know, personality wise, speakers coming and stuff like that, stuff that's going on in fall camp. We won't be breaking any news on the Alabama quarterback competition, unfortunately. I think Coach Saban's going to keep that close to his chest, but stuff like that is what we really want to focus on. Is we want to highlight our student athletes and what great people they are on and off the floor, and we've had a good job, had a good time rather, of doing that so far.
Absolutely. We look forward to that. And Aaron, we look forward to catching up with you all throughout football season. This certainly will be an intriguing one, and we're glad you're on the Yay Alabama side, covering all things Crimson Tide. Just thank you so much for joining us. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Roger.
You'll have to see it to believe it. Whoever said that must have been talking about Talladega. It's a place where chaos mixes with speed, and a playoffs weekend becomes a lifetime of memories. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
From the football field to the soccer pitch, we are really excited that Alabama soccer will start in 2 weeks. It'll be the season opener against DePaul. Last year could not have gone much better for Alabama, winning the school's first SEC championship, had that great run all the way to the College Cup. Just a tremendous season for head coach Wes Hart and the Alabama soccer team, a team that really captured the entire nation of not only everybody here at the University of Alabama, but captured the attention as well of everybody in SEC and NCAA soccer. So with all of that in the past, now it's time to look forward to what's ahead for the Alabama Crimson Tide coming up this season and over the next few weeks here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We'll have conversations with Alabama soccer players, but this week we wanted to have a conversation with Wes Hart as practice is underway here in Tuscaloosa. Coach, it's time. It's early August. Your team's back on the pitch. How's it feel to start practice?
It's exciting. You know, summer was nice to get a little break, but I think we were itching and ready to go. So glad August is finally here, and you know, we're happy about our progress so far and where we're at.
I know you're moving on to 2023, and that's going to be the bulk of this interview, what that's about. But have you had a moment to kind of take a step back, whether in the spring or the summer, and really reflect on all that this past year's team accomplished?
Of course, yeah. I did a lot of reflecting and certainly soaked every moment I could in on last year's accomplishments. So it was a tremendous year and something that we'll never forget.
What are some things you hope this team carries over from a year ago?
I think probably just the belief, kind of the mentality, the winning mentality, the confidence, and just just knowing that we're a good team and that going into games expecting to win.
You had a lot of matches in the spring to get used to life without some of the outstanding seniors we saw a year ago. How'd that go for your team?
Yeah, it went well. Unfortunately, our spring was a little bit, a little bit choppy in terms of, some of the opponents canceled on us late in the spring, so I think we only got 3 of the 5 games in. So unfortunately, we didn't get enough games in to, as much as I would have liked at least. But still, we know who we are. We've got I guess the kind of the spine of our team returning. We've got both center backs, both center mids, a forward, as well as Skorka as a right mid, and a lot of players that came in off the bench and helped. So got some good players returning, and obviously, as you know, we had some good ones leaving.
Who were some of the leaders on this team?
I would say the upperclassmen. Sasha is a center back. She's going to be a captain, as well as Felicia Knox, as well as Bella Scaturo. So we've actually got 2 players that were regular starters 2 years ago that did not get to play last year. Bella Scaturo and Tana Sanchez that were both injured and redshirted. But it's nice to have them back. And so even though they weren't starters last year, they are used to starting games, and so I think that'll help. But the upperclassmen will all be called upon to be leaders on this group.
Looking at Felicia Knox last season, led the NCAA in assists, set all kinds of Alabama records. Just what makes her so good setting up her teammates, especially on set pieces?
Yeah, Felicia's a good soccer player. She just gets the game, and we saw that at a very early age. In the recruiting process, we could see that she was a special player, and it didn't take long for the rest of the world to see that as well. So, but Felicia is good on the ball. She's good at she's got great vision and great technique, great service. Set pieces, as you mentioned, she delivers a good ball, and thankfully for Felicia and the rest of the team, we've got good players to get on the end of that.
Absolutely. And then one big change that's going to come this year is at the goalkeeper position. We've been so used to seeing McKinley Crone. What does the competition look like for playing time there?
Yeah, we've got several good options, and McKinley. I think what was best about McKinley is, first of all, her age and maturity. I think she was a sixth-year senior, and so she had a ton of experience, a ton of composure in goal. And now for us, finding her replacement, obviously not easy, but thankfully for us, we do have 4 capable goalies that we're going to be training all spring and given a chance, and we'll see who wins that.
You told us at this time last year that the non-conference schedule would prepare you for SEC play. Certainly that was the case. How about this year? A lot of big names on this schedule for this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think we got a great balance of games, and probably the marquee one being the North Carolina game, although we don't want to look too far ahead because we've got some very tough opponents before that. But being the Texas football weekend and combine that with the North Carolina soccer weekend should be a heck of a weekend in Tuscaloosa. But in addition to that, you've got Memphis, who is a traditional powerhouse, and they'll be a tough opponent. Samford's always a tough game; they always play us tough. So we've got a number of good opponents that are going to prepare us for conference play.
Wes, we're excited to see your team. Thank you so much for joining us. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Roger. Roll Tide.
Really excited. The soccer season is almost here. Again, over the next few weeks here on Crimson Drive, we will have some interviews coming up with Alabama soccer players, including Felicia Knox, who we talked about in that interview, as well as Gianna Paul and Macy Clem. For our final interview today on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we will return to the sport we started the show with, and that is golf. Of course, Lee Hodges this past Sunday was a winner on the PGA Tour at the 3M Open, but you have to go 2 weeks ago for the first Alabama golf win in recent weeks on any of the professional tours, and that was courtesy of Cheyenne Knight, who is the 2017 SEC Women's Golfer of the Year. She won a team event on the LPGA Tour, and while she's overseas right now gearing up for some more competition, she joined us to talk about the run of success she's had, plus how proud she is of Alabama golf. Roll Tide, Cheyenne. Congratulations on your win 2 weeks ago at the Dow Great Lakes Bay Invitational. How's everything going?
Yeah, Roll Tide, first of all. Good. Thank you for having me. I love my time at Alabama and play professional golf now on the LPGA. So, yeah, it's been a great ride. Won 2 weeks ago. It's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, your victory really sparked a slew of victories we've had. Lee Hodges picked up a win on the PGA Tour. Davis Shore won on the Canadian Tour. You got to be thrilled about their success right now. And again, you got it started at the Dow.
Yeah, I think we should just keep it rolling. I was at Alabama at the time. Lee and Davis were there, so it's awesome to follow everyone's success, including Davis Riley and other girls that played at Alabama that are out on the LPGA with me now, or trying to make it on the Epson Tour. So it's really cool to just see everyone's success and just how well everyone's been doing.
Let's go back to a couple of weeks ago. You're partnered up with Elizabeth Zokel. It's the only team event on the LPGA calendar. What went into making that a really special week for you both?
Yeah, haven't been on a team since my Alabama days, and me and Elizabeth are best friends. She went to the University of Virginia and just won. I don't know. We have different personalities, but just are really great friends and practice a lot together, play a lot of practice rounds. So we both know each other's game pretty well, and she hits it far. I'm kind of more average off the tee. And so we play really well in alternate shot. And I just think we just have such a great time playing with each other and just knowing each other's game. So it was just so much fun, and it's a very unique format. Like what you said, we don't get to do that often, and golf's an individual sport and you're out there by yourself a lot. So it was nice to, have my best friend walking around with me.
In terms of your game, what was working best for you? What were some of the best clubs that were in the bag over that week?
Yeah, I think where we play in Midland, the course is really tight. So you definitely have to keep the ball in the fairway. So I would probably say my driver was probably one of the best clubs in my bag that week, just putting Elizabeth in good spots. And me and Elizabeth both made a lot of putts, and on the course you have a lot of short holes. So just like my wedges were also really good this week, 2 weeks ago, and just gave Elizabeth a lot of, realistic birdie opportunities the first few days. And yeah, I think, and we shot, we knew we needed to get into the 20s to win. So shooting that under par is fun, and you make a lot of birdies. So that was probably what was kind of working best for us.
And it certainly was tight down the stretch as well. Was it fun again to go with your teammate into some of those tough holes near the end and find a way to close it out?
Yeah, I think I've been in contention a little bit this year, so just like kind of handling the nerves and the pressure is something that you learn just every week, and just how you handle yourself, and yeah, just kind of make the most of your opportunity that you have. So yeah, just having Elizabeth there, we tried to keep it light, even though we knew kind of the situation that we were in. But it's just more of kind of like an aggressive format. You know, you need to make birdies. So having two people trying to make a birdie and kind of extend our lead, or um, I don't know, it was very helpful. It kind of takes some pressure off in a way, because you have someone else that you're both trying to do the same thing for your team. So yeah, it was stressful coming down the stretch up until the last hole, but happy we got it done.
Happy you got it done. And also probably happy that fellow Alabama golf alum was in contention. Emma Talley also in the top 5. What it mean to get to see her? She was one of the first people on the green to congratulate you.
Oh yeah, Emma was a senior when I was a freshman, and really great friend. And I was happy to see her play well. And Polly played well too. We played with her on Friday, and so it's great to see the Alabama girls play well, and really special that Emma was there to congratulate me and dump some water champagne on me. But yeah, it's great to see the girls just play well in the professional ranks.
So you pick up that victory, but really not that much time to celebrate, because right after that you're off to Europe to play in some tournaments. Has it been a whirlwind over the last 2 weeks?
It has. I think this is just the big chunk of the season. We have our last major championship next week. I'm in Scotland right now for the Scottish Open, and then the British Open is next week. And yeah, last week was a major in France, so it's just been just kind of a whirlwind straight from Michigan to come to France and play. So it's just been a lot like going on. So hopefully just kind of finish out this stretch, and I'll go home for a few weeks and maybe try to soak it in a little bit more. But I mean, Elizabeth was in France with me, so we got to go out to dinner and just kind of reminisce and kind of take it in a little bit. But yeah, looking forward to going home and seeing my family, and just kind of, yeah, just soaking it in a little bit more, because this is kind of the end of our big chunk. A lot of majors. We played Pebble last month, and yeah, kind of, and then the season gets a little bit easier after this. So just trying to end it on a good note.
We certainly look forward to that. And even going back to your Alabama days, just how much is the teaching you were able to receive there, Mick and Susan? How did that really help prepare you to play professional golf to the level you're playing at, along with some of your former teammates?
Right. You know, when I was recruited by Mick, I wasn't good enough at first in high school, but I knew I wanted to go to Alabama. I wanted to be on a competitive team, and I wanted the chance to win a national championship. And so I wanted to go somewhere that could push me as a person and a player, just to get better. And I didn't know how much I was going to contribute my freshman year, and ended up winning National Freshman of the Year. And I think something that Mick and Susan really instilled in me, and even now, like I just have to play Cheyenne night golf and just be who I am. Like I'm around a lot of great players, but like I can't be them. All I can do is just be myself, and how I play golf. I don't need to be anyone else, and just kind of perfect what I do and do it the best that I can. And yeah, I don't think professional golf was on my radar until I went to Alabama, and just under that guidance of Mick and Susan and my teammates, that really pushed me. And I really saw like kind of the potential I could have. And yeah, I think Mick and Susan saw that in me, and just knew that what they needed to do to guide me and just like be confident in myself and my abilities would help me in professional golf. And I kind of, you know, you lose sight of that sometimes when things aren't going well. You want to reinvent the wheel, but you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Maybe just take a step back and look at it from a little bit of a different perspective. But I got to see Mick a few weeks ago in June at Liberty National, and it was great to catch up with him. And just, I think they're going to have a great year next year. They have Caitlin Schroeder coming in. She's really great player, like really nice girl. So I'm excited for them, and I hope that they can win SECs and national championship next year.
Yeah, how much do you enjoy connecting with the current players that are on this team and kind of telling them about your experience at Alabama and what could be ahead for them in their own games?
Yeah, it makes me feel old. My last year was 2018, but it's really cool to see the girls come out. Like Polly, I played with her 2 weeks ago, and she transferred to Alabama. But I didn't know where I was not on the team with her. But just to kind of connect with her out here is really cool. Just a full circle moment. We all, I feel like, dreamed of going to Alabama and playing golf, and now you dream of playing professional golf on the LPGA and just seeing the girls out here. But it's really cool to just kind of reminisce. And yeah, I feel like at tournaments we look and see how the girls are doing. Yeah, and Mick and Susan like text us good luck, and just having the support from them is really cool. And just seeing I have the Alabama A on my golf bag, and just hearing random people from across the world notice that and kind of yell "Roll Tide" is really cool. And just kind of seeing all the script A's that are out here on all the golf bags, it's just yeah, just really cool, that it's a big alumni out here.
Absolutely. That's certainly good to see. And of course, Alabama fans are going to be cheering you on over the next few weeks. If you could just kind of run down the schedule and what's next for Cheyenne Knight.
Yeah, this week, Scottish Open. Next week, the week after that is the British Open, our final major of the year. And then I have a few weeks off. I'll play in Canada, and then Cincinnati. And then we'll see if I make the Solheim Cup. I would love the opportunity to represent my country. So, just got to keep doing what I need to do every day to play well, and that can take care of itself. And then after that, we'll see if I make Solheim, and then play Arkansas and Dallas, kind of the closest spots we get to Alabama, and then play in Malaysia, and then we'll finish off the year in Florida. And then the year's kind of done after that, but football season, so I'm excited to get to watch some football. Not much going on in the summer right now. So, but yeah, so just, it's been a long year, but hopefully finish it off well, and kind of keep the Alabama train going of people in the winner's circle.
We certainly would love to see that. Well, Cheyenne, congratulations on your win on the LPGA Tour a couple weeks ago, and thank you for your time today. Best of luck with that busy schedule you have coming up, but thank you for everything you've done for Alabama women's golf, and we look forward to chatting with you again down the road. Roll Tide.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Roll Tide.
Crimson Drive is driven by NASCAR. Don't miss out on your chance to see the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs return to Talladega on October 1st. Purchase your tickets today for the Yellowwood 500 at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com and be a part of one of the best atmospheres in sports. And we continue on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. As we start to wrap up the show, it's time to take a look at what's coming up on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. We always have our weekend update brought to you by Wickles Pickles, our Wickles Weekend Update. You can find out more about Wickles Pickles online at wicklespickles.com and see what's coming up, of course, for us on the network. And what is next ahead is still no true broadcast for us coming up over the next week, but we are getting closer and closer to the return of some of our programming. I mentioned that in 2 weeks, we will have the Alabama soccer opener on August 17th against DePaul. That night will also be the return of Hey Coach and the Nick Saban Show. Now, Coach Saban won't be joining us until game week against Middle Tennessee, but we will start on August 17th with Hey Coach and the Nick Saban Show coming up at Baumhauer's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa starting at 6:30. That day as well, we will also have Tide TV this week. That'll be debuting as well coming up that week, and then after that, we will have the Nick Saban television show, Crimson Tide Today. The daily program will be back as well. So much is coming up here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and we will continue to have Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR once a week, streaming live just like today, Thursday at 2 p.m. right here on all of our social media channels and available on demand on our YouTube page. So hopefully you can join us again coming up next week. And just a sneak peek of next week, hopefully we're going to have a conversation with Patrick Murphy, the head coach of the Crimson Tide softball team, as they had an outstanding trip, it looked like, to Italy over the past few weeks. So we want to catch up with Murph. We'll be talking more about Crimson Tide football and soccer as well. Thanks to all of our guests today, especially our golf guest, Cheyenne Knight, who we just heard from, Lee Hodges to begin the show. Thanks as well to Wes Hart, the head soccer coach here at Alabama, as well as Yay Alabama's Aaron Suttles for his great breakdown of what's coming up on Saturday at 2:30 at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Fan Day that is open to all fans. And then after Fan Day is complete, subscribers to Yay Alabama will have have a chance for an autograph session with Crimson Tide players. Thanks as well to Ethan Carabin for not only shooting our interviews with our soccer players and head coach Wes Hart, but also putting this entire show together. For everybody with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, this is Roger Hoover saying thank you for watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Have a great weekend and roll Tide.